Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi! Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast. He's at war with woke.
Joe Concha
thinks liberals are a joke.
Joe Concha.
This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
Welcome, everybody. And tonight we unfortunately mourn the loss of Chuck Norris, the great Chuck Norris, 86 years old. I saw a video of him a couple of weeks ago. I'm still like, wow, Chuck Norris, he was more of a thing in like the 70s and the 80s, right? Like, how old is he? I thought maybe, he started off really young, and at 70, 72, 73, he's still doing all the intense workouts that he does. 86 years old. Chuck Norris, unfortunately, has been taken from us, as has Mean Joe Green of the great Pittsburgh Steelers and that steel curtain defensive dynasty, the most famous Coke commercial of all time. Honestly, throws the jersey to the kid. Twice in one day. These things always happen in three, so hopefully that will break the string here as far as that bad luck is concerned. But anyway, here's how Chuck Norris became a Republican. And he was a Democrat, like so many in Hollywood, but I think he's doing what so many other sane and sober people are doing when it comes to the insanity of the Democratic Party, pushing people not even to the right, but, staying in the center while they all go far left. Here's Chuck Norris. The late, great Chuck Norris. Cut number 3, go.
Why are you a conservative, sir?
Well, I used to be a Democrat, but unfortunately the Democrats went too far to the left, and the Republicans moved into their position that the Democrats were 40 years ago. And so what the Democrats believed 40 years ago, the Republicans believe today. And so I realized that I had to go to a Republican because the Democrats just got too far off the trail. They just got completely off the trail and lost all reality of what America stood for. And so I realized that Republicans at this point in time are more focused on what is best for America than what the Democrats are.
And there you go. So I only have, I don't know. I'm going to let Vince Vaughn, the great Vince Vaughn, say it, actually, in cut number 19, as far as how we all feel about Chuck Norris and everything he gave to us, not just in entertainment, but just as a great human being. Cut 19.
Thank you, Chuck Norris.
That's right. Thank you, Chuck Norris. That's from the movie Dodgeball, actually, 2004. Long story around that one, but he's a legend, and we will certainly miss him. That is certainly for sure. And where we see the Democratic Party going is to a place where they've always done this, I think, but they really prey on those who are misinformed, uninformed, and let's call it what it is, stupid. So here we have a younger reporter, go down to spring break down in Panama City, Florida. I went there years ago. I'm pretty certain I can answer these questions, relatively. And in cut number 13, this tells us why we're all doomed as a society. Chuck Norris, was smart enough as he got older, went to the right. I hope these folks too here, A, learn basic stuff, and B, understand that when you get into the real world, that the utopia that Democrats offer, like the Zohar Mamdanis of the world, just does not exist. Cut number 13, go.
What year was 9/11?
2012.
Who bombed Pearl Harbor?
Spain.
So how many total senators does that mean we have in the United States?
Oh, 50 states, 3 times 50, 65.
What year did we free the slaves?
I should know this. This is a bad look.
1962.
Who is the commander-in-chief of the military?
Learned about this one at school, I think. It starts with a D. It's like donut or something.
Do you know what amendment freed the slaves?
We'll say the third.
What's the third amendment?
The right to bear arms.
Who played the Super Bowl halftime show?
Bad Bunny.
Who sings the song Espresso?
Oh, Sabrina Carpenter.
What does GRWM stand for on TikTok?
Get ready with me.
Who is Taylor Swift engaged to?
Travis Kelce.
I weep for the future. I mean, Pearl Harbor was bombed by Spain. There was like 1,000 bad answers on there to the point where you're like, my God, these aren't elementary school kids. These are kids in college. In college, they got accepted to a university somewhere, and now they're on spring break, and they sounded sober. And I don't even know what to make of that, except that these people can vote just like you can. And when Democrats promise them all the things that Zohran Mamdani has, as far as, hey, you don't want to pay for the bus anymore? You don't want to pay for childcare when you eventually have kids? You want me to freeze rents when you want to rent an apartment in Manhattan? I could do all those things for you. Except that in the real world, that actually does not happen. Meanwhile, they also watch guys like Trevor Noah on stations like used to be on Comedy Central. He's the guy who was after Jon Stewart, and now he just hosts award shows. Like, that basically seems to be his thing. Like, if there's an award show, there's a 50-50 chance that Trevor Noah will be the host. Here is Noah actually supporting men playing against women in sports. And he makes the most ridiculous argument. Thank goodness on the other side of this is John Schneider from, obviously, Saturday Night Live and Adam Carolla to question exactly where he's getting this logic from. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing to listen to. Cut number 11, go.
If a skinny ass man is allowed to be a boxer, a man who weighs less than a bag of cement is allowed to be a professional boxer, a man that I can pick up and throw to the other side of the room. Mm-hmm. He'll beat me in a fight, boxing, but I can lift him. If that person gets accommodated, why can we not accommodate a trans woman?
What kind of logic is that?
I don't
What kind of logic is that? First of all, if you could pick him up and throw him, you wouldn't be in the ring with him because you guys are a different weight category. What the is that? I don't even understand.
I was trying to break down what he meant. Super funny comedian, Trevor Noah.
Yeah, he's saying that, well, if you have a skinny guy and he's in boxing, then why is that different than a woman fighting against men in boxing? And to Schneider's point, it's, well, for starters, they have these things called weight classes in boxing. So you can't be a 140-pound person fighting against Mike Tyson in his prime when he was 220 pounds because there are weight classes for that. And he's saying that, well, if a skinny guy can go in there and, well, you know, if he's allowed to do that, then why can a skinny guy fight a woman? That's not how it works. And you had that Italian boxer during the Olympics who was beaten to a pulp by this man pretending to be a woman, but they happen to be in the same weight class. And we've seen it in volleyball. We've seen it in track. We've seen it in all these sports, field hockey, where girls, women have been seriously injured. And the party that's supposed to be all about women and protecting women doesn't seem to give a crap. But anyway, that's the Trevor Noah argument. And many, many people on the left agree with that. Let's put it this way. If you tell me that men should be in the same locker room as women, guess what? That is something that if you tell me that you know something about economic policy as well or foreign policy, I already think you're insane. So why would I listen to you? And that's the way that would work. Anyway, let's talk about people who used to be Republicans, but now are Democrats. And that's Joe Scarborough. So Scarborough, in 2026, Joe Scarborough feels that, you know, this whole voter ID thing is really, really ridiculous. And what the SAVE Act is trying to do is something that I can never support. The problem is that Joe Scarborough now would never, ever agree with, you know, his former self, the same person. We're going to play these back to back. This is cut number 10, then cut number 9. Go.
Republicans, they don't even allow your driver's license to be used as a way to be able to vote for your mayor, for your county commissioners, for your state senators, House members, governors, presidents, doing everything you can do to ensure that your unpopular party can somehow figure out a way to win in the fall. It's not going to work. It's absolutely outrageous.
The Democratic legislature has actually passed a bill out of committee that allows illegal immigrants to get a California's driver's license. That's right. And by giving these criminals the most accepted form of identification in America, the California Democrats buy votes for themselves. And it looks like, to me at least, that political gamemanship is trumping national security.
Wow. The same person said the same exact things, except one is the opposite from the other. And that's when you know that Joe Scarborough is as phony as a $3 bill, because he will say anything to get that next contract from his employer. So in 2003, believe it or not, on MSNBC, they actually had conservatives on there. Yeah, they had Michael Savage on there. True story. I believe Tucker Carlson had a show on MSNBC as well, as did Laura Ingraham had a show on MSNBC. Let's see. Jesse Ventura had a show on MSNBC. And Joe Scarborough called Scarborough Country, a show that a very, very young me appeared on way back when as well. And Joe was supposed to be, Midwest GOPer, right? The guy who just wants to protect American values and protect, more importantly, our sanctity as far as voting and illegals from doing it. And now, because he's on the current version of MSNBC, which is now MS Now, well, the tune has changed completely. Meanwhile, big changes over at MS Now, if you want to call it that. All they've done basically is take their existing talent, scare quotes, and then move them to different parts of the network and get different shows. But it's the same people, just at different times. It's really remarkable. So Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski, his wife, they'll go from having 4 hours in the morning to 3 hours. Okay. Then they're going to move Stephanie Ruhle from 11 p.m. to 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Then they're going to give Luke Russert, the son of Tim Russert, a show. And then a bunch of stuff's going to happen where we have people being moved from weekends to weekdays and so on, back and forth. In other words, nothing changes there except the time slots for the people that are already there. And the old saying is that when you do something over and over again and expect a different result, that is the definition of insanity. Well, over at that insane asylum, that's exactly what they're trying to do. First, they changed the name from MSNBC because NBC didn't want to be a part of it anymore. So they became MS Now. And now they're just moving people around thinking that that's going to make a difference. The bottom line is that until they have a couple of pro-Trump, don't tell me Republican, all right, because Republican could mean a lot of things, because they have some Republicans on there who are positively anti-Trump, like Michael Steele, the former head of the RNC. He's a Republican. Nicole Wallace, she worked for George W. Bush. She's a Republican. No, they're not. They're anti-Trump. They don't have one pro-Trump voice on there, or even milquetoast pro-Trump voice on there. Like even like halfway say something once in a while nice about him. Pro-Trump voice on there. It is a complete and total echo chamber. Then they have all these analysts on MS Now all saying the same thing, which tends to be boring. And yes, Fox will. And I get some emails about this, and I get texts, and I get whatever. Not text, but direct messages on Twitter. People complain, like, how can you put that Democrat on? That liberal. Yeah, because it's a different viewpoint. It's good to have different perspectives. When you don't have different perspectives, TV can get boring in a hurry. MS Now is Pyongyang. It is the old Politburo, Kremlin, Soviet Union, all the same thoughts all the time. And that's why they get beat, not doubled, not tripled, 6 times the audience in the case of the State of the Union between Fox and MS Now. So you're going to hear about all these changes. It don't matter until you change the culture. And at least CBS News is attempting to do that, as CBS News Radio looks like it's going by the wayside because, quite frankly, CBS News Radio hasn't been a thing since Edward R. Murrow way back in the day. Anyway, this is Joe Concha. This is Concha at Night. Back with so much more in just a moment.
Where liberalism is a no-go. The Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation.